Alrighty everybody, hello and good evening and welcome back to more Phoenix Wright Ace Attorney. Yeah, we're continuing it for the rest of the week. Am I coming through okay? Just to try and finish this, keep moving on. Sweet. Alright, let's make sure everything is still properly synced. A, B, C, 1, 2, 3. Perfect. Alright, so before we get things started, I'd like to say that I'm glad that I was actually able to start on time for once. Well, it's mostly because I was already working on stuff on Streamlabs. Two things, actually. For those of you who were here last night, I used a screen that I have not used in a very long time, which was my Be Right Back screen. And of course it was old and dated, so I made this to accompany with I'm going to add some more sound effects, but this is to start it off. And then if things start glitching out on me, I can always pull this one up. Just try and keep with the same kind of theme that I've got going on with my new splash screens. But yeah, I'm gonna play around with them some more, try and get Get creative with it. Plus, I gotta remove a whole bunch of stuff that I don't use anymore. Where the heck is my... Oh, here it is. So yeah, let's get right back into it. Where we last left off, we were having a chat with our new witness, Jake Marshall, and now he's about to spill the tea. Let's see what he's got to fess up about. It seems the time's come. I had to do it that day. I just couldn't stand by and let it die. I stole the detective's ID and dressed like him. I planned to take out the evidence. I wasn't expecting Officer Meekins and knock him out. I managed to escape. I knew which areas wouldn't be caught in the camera. There wasn't any murder in the evidence room at 5:15. So, the supposed victim was really you. But there's one thing I still don't understand. Traces of a large quantity of blood were found on the floor of the evidence room. If no one was murdered, then how could that be? Officer Meekins managed to cut his own hand. My guess is he's the donor. It was way too much blood for such a small donation. You say it, you mean... Do you even have to ask, partner? The SL9 incident. 2 years have passed since the case was closed. It was going to completely end with the transferal that day. Not if I have anything to do with it. That incident's not over. What do you hope to accomplish by sneaking into the evidence room? When a case is closed, only that case's lead detective can look through the evidence. I wanted to have a look at myself one more time, no matter what the cost. I don't care what anyone says, partner, that case is mine. But Officer Marshall wasn't in charge of that investigation. Why does he care so much about it? That day was my last chance. That's what I stole it. Okay. Before we do anything else, I'm gonna save because I only have one chance to do any proper what do you call it? Counters. I'm gonna save scum the hell out of this. Why did you disguise yourself as Detective Goodman? If I didn't make it look like Goodman was carrying out the evidence transferal, I'd be arrested for stealing evidence, which wouldn't get me anywhere. So you did it to fool the security camera. On the detective ID card? I stole that the morning of the incident. So that really was why Goodman started filling out the lost item report. I returned his ID card. I left it on the floor in the prosecutor's office parking lot. The ID card I found was left there by Officer Marshall. So, essentially, you managed to succeed despite your lack of foresight. What do you mean, partner? I mean, the fingerprint-activated lock, of course. No matter how well you disguise yourself, you can't change your fingerprints. Under normal circumstances, you wouldn't have been able to open that locker yourself. But it could because a rubber glove just happened to get stuck on the door. That means Detective Goodman must have opened the locker before Officer Marshall. I wasn't expecting, I must have knocked him out. You pulled a knife on Officer Meekins and tried to drive him off? Let's just say I was a little surprised. I only planned on being in the evidence room for no more than 5 minutes. I didn't think anyone would actually come in during that short time. Officer Meekins certainly is a one-in-a-million type of person. Mistaking a detective for an intruder and demanding to be shown his ID. I'll have to think a little more about his raise this year. When did Edward get so much influence? Anyway, he threw himself at me and I ended up cutting him slightly. I'm sorry it had to turn out that way. Me knocking him out and everything. By the way, what happened to your knife? Oh, you mean this one? I don't know what to say. So we knocked Officer Meekins out and... So you did your research beforehand. Those who go into the desert unprepared don't live long, partner. I didn't think it would make a difference, though. Security tape is erased every 6 hours. If all had gone planned, no footage would have been left. However, you bloodied your coat in your struggle with Officer Meekins. If someone was in the security room before when I came out, the jig would have been up. I opened my locker and stashed it in there. What was Officer Meekins doing during that time? What else? He was sleeping like a baby. So what you're saying is on that day... But the blood found at the scene certainly indicates the crime took place. What are you, blind? The victim shown on that tape is me, and I'm not dead yet, partner. So you stole the evidence from the locker. Actually, no, I didn't. Why not? When I opened the locker, the evidence is already gone. What? Mr. Edgeworth, where is that evidence? It's still missing, Your Honor. Detective Goodman's locker was already empty. Someone else stole the evidence. Officer Marshall, may I ask you one thing? Fire away, partner. It's a free country. Just remember, I'm also free to decide whether or not to answer. Why did you do this? Stealing a detective's ID, injuring a police officer? This is no small offense. Moreover, you're an officer yourself. This will have serious consequences. It can't just be forgiven with a simple cut in salary. Not that salary cuts are ever a valid solution. Like I said, this isn't your case. This one is mine. And I'll do anything it takes to get an answer I'm satisfied with. Witness has an unusual amount of zeal. Let's hear more. But that case was solved 2 years ago, wasn't it? That's the reason the evidence was stored in the evidence room. Joe Dark was convicted for his crimes. One thing I can say for sure is he deserved his sentence. I remember the Joe Dark case. It involved serial murders, didn't it? I didn't intend to complain about how it turned out. But there's something that bothers me. Something went down at that trial. Something no one will talk about. What happened? I don't know. That's what I'm trying to find out. Why is he so concerned with that incident? Maybe I should present him with what I think his real reason is. I had a feeling we'd wind up here sooner or later. Everyone involved here is related in some way to that case. I better take another look at the files. I know exactly why. Actually. But, page 2. Neil Marshall.
Objection!
Officer Marshall, I think I understand. I think I know why you care so much about the SL9 incident. Sounds like you've been sipping too much cactus juice, partner. I have the SL9 incident file here. The name Marshall is mentioned in there. It's a list of murder victims. Neil Marshall. Are you related to this man? Neil Marshall. Yeah. I'm sure you've heard the name. 2 years ago, he received the same lousy prosecutor award you got. What? A prosecutor? Must be talking about the King of Prosecutors Award. Now I remember. Prosecutor Neil Marshall. He handled the SL9 incident before I did. That's right. He was killed, and the case fell into your hands. But what's his relation to you? He was my brother. He was investigating the murders with Damon Gant, the then Deputy Chief of Police. The group of detectives I was a part of worked under them. We were desperate to prosecute the killer. Oh, that's him? That's creepy. Joe Dark. My brother fought Dark and was killed. That was the first time Dark left behind any evidence. That was all we needed. He was arraigned and incarcerated. The case was finally closed, at least according to the public records. What do you mean? My brother couldn't have been killed by Joe Dark. I knew my brother better than anyone. No one could have beaten him in a fight. And that's it? That's your reason for your insane actions? There's more to my brother's death than what the records say. No matter how much you try to hide it, you can't fool me. Well, at least one thing's for certain. Now we know what happened to the police department on the day of the crime. That was the last day the SL9 case could be reopened. Not satisfied with this resolution, Officer Marshall planned to steal the evidence. Disguising himself as Detective Goodman, he entered the evidence room. Officer Meekins confronted him, so he rendered him unconscious and fled. Yes, this mystery has finally been cleared up. No murder took place at the police department that day. The things that happened by chance never cease to amaze. At exactly the same time as the murder at the prosecutor's office, this fake murder was going on at the police department. Chance? It's gotta be more than just that. No one was murdered in the police department on the day of the crime. That means the murder in the prosecutor's office parking lot was the real one. Which in turn means only one person could have committed the crime. The chief prosecutor, Lana Skye. Objection! But wait, a verdict wasn't reached in yesterday's trial. Objection! Which is why we examine the incident at the police department today. But there's only one reason the defendant was not convicted yesterday. There yet remained the mystery of the simultaneous murder at the police department. It seems to me this boy's got the draw on you, partner. All the mysteries at the police department have been solved, or resolved, no doubt about it. Our sole murder took place at the prosecutor's office. The only suspect is Lana Skye. And the testimony of one Miss Angel Star is currently in... Wait. I missed that. I pushed the wrong button. If you have a response, make it a single word or less. Give it a second. Although that's not exactly a word. I rest my case. As this trial has reached its conclusion, there is no room for doubt. Well done, Mr. Wright. Thanks to you, I didn't need to waste my time. Disproving the alleged murder at the police department. There's no doubt what I proved today is true. The apparent murder on the security camera's tape was really was a fake. But I didn't realize I would end up proving Lana guilty. Now then, the time for the verdict has arrived. The court finds the defendant. Emma? Your Honor, wait! Emma? The defense has an objection, a scientific objection. Right? What do you mean, right? Mr. Wright, are you this girl's guardian? Your Honor? Oh, in a sense. Please, Your Honor. All I'm asking is for a minute of your time. Please, hear me out. Mr. Edgeworth, please. I don't want to leave any loose ends. You want a minute? I'll give you 3. I was kind of in shock. I mean, finding out the SL9 incident referred to the Joe Dark killings. Now that she mentioned, is it? The names of both Sky Sisters were in that file. Wait, were they witnesses? Yeah, they were. They were witnesses, and Lana was an investigator. What did they witness? That's when I figured it out. I mean, what Officer Marshall was trying to do that day. So I knew his fingerprint had nothing to do with the crime. And that left only one thing. The other handprint. You mean the traces of blood found in Detective Gumshoe's locker? But no fingerprints were found on it, right? No, but I figured if I examined it scientifically, I'd be sure to find a clue. So I ran over there and looked at it again. So, did you find something? No. Huh? Sorry, I guess I'm not much of a scientific investigator after all. Is that all? Please don't be mad. I'm just a high school student. And I'm just an attorney. But, Mr. Wright, those traces of blood aren't the only clue we have. If we can't find something wrong with them, please, Mr. Wright, you're a professional. If anyone can save Lana, it's you. Me? Oh, boy. Time's up. Now then, Mr. Wright. With regard to the incident at the police department, does any reasonable doubt remain? It appears the defense is troubled by the other blood mark. Looking at the floor plans, a handprint was discovered around here. Is there a problem with this? Mr. Wright, I'm sorry I can't be of more use, but still, if you can't find anything wrong with that blood mark, Lana will be... Please answer my question, Mr. Wright. We don't have all day. Yes, Your Honor. If I ever needed to concentrate, it's now. Could there be something I'm missing? There has to be. This handprint left at the crime scene clearly shows a contradiction. The only thing that seems clear is your grasping, Mr. Wright.
You've been staring pretty intently at those floor plans. Tell me, is there a problem with them?
Yes, this is strange. Take a good look at these floor plans. Something is missing. Missing? You mean something hasn't been drawn on there? Yes, something that, when drawn, will completely change the meaning of the blood mark.
Let us pray the defense isn't simply trying to buy time. Very well, Mr. Wright.
With all this evidence here, there's gotta be something I can use.
The question is, which item can prove something is missing in the floor plans?
This was in the way. You can't see where that locker is.
Take that!
What about that piece of plywood?
The Blue Badger, the mascot of the police force. Defender of truth, guardian of proof. Explain yourself, Mr. Wright. Please look at the floor plans of the scene of the crime. The Blue Badger is not here. So watch what happens when we put him in. This is where he was dancing at the time of the crime. Well,
what?
Ugh! That's right. So long as the Blue Badger is dancing here, it would be impossible to place a handprint on at this spot on the locker.
What? So that means, just what exactly does that mean?
It means it can't be done.
What are you saying? Blood traces were undeniably found on that locker.
Don't look at me, I didn't put it there. Mr. Wright, think it through scientifically. Emma? On that afternoon, Officer Meekins was the one who brought the Blue Badger to the evidence room, right? After he put it down, it would be impossible to leave a handprint on that locker, unless it was there already. Does that mean this blood mark was left there before the Blue Badger was brought in? Oh, was left there before the Blue Badger was brought in.
Just one moment, I will not allow such a far-fetched balderdash in my courtroom.
It may sound far-fetched, Your Honor, but it's the only possible explanation. On February 21st, in the police department's evidence room, blood was spilled not once, but twice.
But how?
One time was captured on this tape, taken by the security camera. Officer Meekins cut his hand, from which a trivial amount of blood fell. The problem is, the other time. Someone bled prior to the struggle on this tape. It had to have been. It had to have been Detective Goodman, where he was really murdered. When he was really murdered.
Objection!
That's ridiculous. I refuse to accept your absurd claim.
Objection!
The murder portrayed in the security tape has been proven to be a fake. However, that does not explain the blood mark found on the locker.
Objection!
So then, assuming this murder you purport really happened, when did it take place? I demand you show evidence that proves when it occurred. When did the first incident occur?
To summarize, the defense claims that prior to Officer Meekins being cut by Judge Marshall, who was posing as Detective Goodman, another incident took place in that evidence room.
That's right, the blood mark on the locker proves this.
Very well, then tell us. When did this first incident occur, as Mr. Edgeworth said? Proof must be presented.
Proof that shows when the murder took place. There's only one piece of evidence that can show that.
Now then, the defense, please present its evidence. which shows when the first crime took place.
Take that!
If the crime took place inside the evidence room, then the killer would have had to enter it. In order to do so, an ID card would have been required.
An ID card? Oh, the ID card record.
Officer Meekins brought the Blue Badger panel into the evidence room at, let's see here,
4:50 p.m.
If the crime took place before that, then it would be
4:40. Oh! Oh!
Hang on, could I do it again? Nope.
Miles Edgeworth, just what have you done?
I never would have figured you had the nerve, boy. Drop the act, witness. It doesn't take a lot of thought to figure it out. Figure out couldn't have been me. Nope, I ain't getting it.
I'm afraid I don't understand either.
It's clear from the luminol test that blood was there. However, when the second crime took place, both Officer Meekins and Officer Marshall failed to notice the blood. That means the blood from the first crime was wiped away by the real murderer. I would have had just 10 minutes to murder the victim, carry his body away, and clean up the blood. Unfortunately, that's physically impossible.
That would mean the crime must have taken place before Mr. Edgeworth entered the evidence room.
There's only one other card number remaining. 77777777777.
Talk about a lucky number. But wait, that doesn't make sense. How could Detective Goodman have entered the evidence room?
Since there's no record of his card being used beforehand, he must have entered along with the real murderer. That's the only plausible explanation. We went in with 7777777777777.
Mr. Edgeworth, please look into this ASAP. Find out who this ID number is. 777777777.
Swah. That's 17 too many, Your Honor. Unfortunately, I'm unable to look up the owner of that ID card. At least, at present. What?
Explain yourself, son.
The ID number 7777777 belongs to someone with a rank of captain or higher. Someone who was a so-called executive officer. They don't have the authority to inquire into such a person's identity.
Objection!
But that's ridiculous. Just how... I'm not finished talking, Mr. Wright. There is one situation in which we can be granted such authority.
If an official charge filed against an executive is accepted.
An official charge? You're all alike, aren't you? With your cover-ups and forgeries. That's how the prosecutor's office operates.
Objection!
I take pride in my work, Officer Marshall. I would appreciate it if you would keep your slander to yourself. Slander, is it? Okay, let me ask a question. Yes. No, not to you. To her, the defendant sitting over there. Your own little executive. Lana?
Objection!
Don't be stupid. She's been charged with murder. Of course, we've looked up her ID number, and it's not 777777777777777. Don't play me for a fool, partner. That's not what I want to ask. All I want to know is one thing about that incident.
Yes, incident?
Answer me this, Chief Prosecutor. In that trial 2 years ago, did you really only use legitimate evidence? Do you need the witness to repeat his question, Chief Prosecutor? I heard him fine, Mr. Edgeworth. 2 years ago, I was in charge of the prosecution for that trial. At the time, occasionally, we felt the powerlessness of the law. At least, I did. Lana, I became a prosecutor in order to suppress crime with the law. But before I realized it, we were the ones being suppressed by the law.
Defendant, just what are you saying?
I'll ask you again, Chief Prosecutor. During that trial 2 years ago, did you really present all the evidence in court? Can you look at me, an investigator in that crime, in the eye, and say that you did?
Chief Prosecutor, you didn't.
I don't have to, Officer Marshall.
Why won't you answer him?
Drastic crimes require drastic measures. That's just the way it is. We did what we had to, in order for him to get the verdict he deserved. But Lana! Even if it involved forging evidence.
See? That's what I'm talking about.
No.
No! Order! Order!
Lana's remarks caused such a stir that chaos in the courtroom could not be quelled. The conclusion of the trial would have to wait until the following day. I'm so sorry, Miss Wright. I'm sorry for what my sister said. I didn't know. I never knew that the SL9 incident was just another name for the Joe Dark killings. Sounds like everyone's heard about these killings but me. Lana wanted Dark convicted so badly. That's why she used me. That's why she used what happened to me. What do you mean? What happened to you? It's all in there in the file. Joe Dark's last victim was Prosecutor Neil Marshall. When he murdered Officer Marshall's brother, he left behind an incriminating piece of evidence. What did you have to do with those killings, Emma? On the night Prosecutor Neil Marshall was murdered, Joe Dark tried to kill me. What? He tried to kill you? Officer Marshall's brother, Neil, was only trying to save me. So that means you. Yes. I was a witness in the Joe Dark trial.
I didn't see that one.
Yes, you did! It was in the file!
Well, I didn't say why, but...
It happened 2 years ago, right about this time of the year, too. There was a terrible thunderstorm that day. Unusual for the season. I was alone in my sister's office. We were planning to eat dinner together when she finished her work. Then suddenly, this terrifying man came bursting into the office. Joe Dark. It seemed like he was running from someone. He pulled out a knife and screamed at me. I didn't know what was going on. Just then, Prosecutor Marshall showed up. Jake Marshall's brother. Joe Dark tried to take me hostage, but before he could, Mr. Marshall tackled him. Then, what happened? I'll never forget it. Lightning struck and the lights went out. Suddenly, a bolt of lightning flashed outside the window, lighting up the office for an instant. What I saw then burned a permanent picture in my mind. I can still see it now. Permanent picture? What did you see in the instant that crime occurred? Dark knocked down Mr. Marshall and raised his knife. Young Marshall was stabbed right in front of this poor girl. I don't remember what happened after that. Apparently I passed out. When I came to, Lana was cradling me in her arms. Poor Emma. You've been through so much. I couldn't bring myself to testify about that incident.
Oh, excuse me.
I tried, but the words wouldn't come out. I drew a picture, but it wasn't any good. 2 years ago. You must have been 14, that's understandable. Once it was all over, I made up my mind. I decided that when I grew up, I'd become a scientific investigator. I want to be able to fight crime with my testimonies and find the evidence to make an airtight case. That way, Lana would never have to forge any. I see. I think I'm finally starting to understand what makes Emma tick. But there's still something that bothers me about that crime. I don't remember the moment when Dark stabbed Mr. Marshall. So you weren't able to testify about that? No, I was only asked about when I was attacked. That must be why Lana... Why she made up that crime. Made it up? You mean provided bogus evidence? The prosecutor's office wanted a guilty verdict so badly. Lana forged the evidence and Mr. Edgeworth used it. Edgeworth? Yes, but I'm sure he didn't know anything about it. He couldn't have known he was being given false evidence. Even so, that's when it all started. Rumors about Mr. Edgeworth, I mean. It's all my fault. If I could have just testified properly, none of this would have happened. What exactly was the evidence? So it's true, even though he may not have known about it. Edgeworth really was involved in falsifying evidence. After that case ended, Lana was never the same. She became cold, like she is today. She must not have been able to face up to what she did, especially not to Emma. There's something that's puzzling me, Emma. What is it? You said you were in Lana's office at the time, right? That's right. Why then would a serial killer come running in there? Not only that, but he was being chased by a prosecutor? Oh, there's no mystery there. Joe Dark had been taken in for questioning that day. Taken in for questioning? You mean by the police? Of course. This happened at the police department. He tried to run away halfway through the interview and fled into my sister's office. But why did he run all the way over to your sister's office? Because the detective's offices and the questioning room were right across from the elevator. Across from the elevator? But Lana was the chief prosecutor, wasn't she? No, silly. Didn't I tell you? 2 years ago, Lana was a detective. She was the best in the force. What? That's news to me. After the Joe Dark case, she was transferred to the prosecutor's office and made chief prosecutor. Lana used to be a detective. I'd better have another talk with her. Lana. Mr. Wright, it seems I keep causing you trouble. Falsifying evidence. I didn't think you were the type. Criminals don't mind playing foul. Why should we? But Lana, if you're wrong, an innocent person might be found guilty. Believe me, I understand the risks. Lana, Emma told me about you. Oh? About how you were a detective 2 years ago? And how the SL9 incident was the reason for your transfer to the prosecutor's office? That's right. Could you fill me in on the details? Especially about that unusual change of jobs? I suppose you have a right to know, Mr. Wright. It's true. I was a member of the police force 2 years ago. She was amazing. They still talk about all the cases she and Chief Grant cracked together. Chief Gant. He was the deputy chief of police back then, but he still worked on the crime scenes. Damon Gant. He was everything I aspired to be. They were the best team ever. They solved crimes before the reports could even be filed. Emma really idolizes her big sister. But now you're the chief prosecutor. What happened? I always planned on becoming a prosecutor. The reason I became a detective was to gain experience investigating crime scenes, so you could use that experience in court, right? Gant's help in the SL9 incident was crucial to its resolution. After that, he became chief of police and arranged my transfer to the prosecutor's office. Maybe I should ask more about this investigation of theirs 2 years ago. A lot of revelations were uncovered at that trial today, not the least of which was the fact that this case is largely connected to another one 2 years ago. Evidence from that case was stolen as well, though I expected as much. I know how obsessive Officer Marshall can be. That trial, it really wasn't fair, was it? I believed in you, Lana. I believed that no matter what happened, you'd always stick to the truth. I couldn't be helped, Emma. At that trial 2 years ago, I sold my soul. Well, all drama aside, the fact of the matter is, at 5:15, there was no murder at the police department. Tell me it's not true, Lana. What the witness, Miss Starr, said about you stabbing Mr. Goodman with a knife. Lana, I don't understand. Why won't you tell us? Emma, this doesn't involve just me. I don't think I've ever seen Lana look so fazed before. 2 years ago, I was second in command of the detectives investigating Dark. Second in command? That means the investigation lead was Damon Gant, right? Yes. Deputy Chief Gant and I shared the same office and the same investigations. They even had the same office. We led a team of the best detectives on the force. Detective Goodman, whose case it was, Jake Marshall, and Angel Starr. It was the first time Marshall worked with his brother, who was quite gung-ho. Without a doubt, Joe Dark was the serial killer. We asked him to come in for questioning. We were desperate for evidence. That was when his final murder took place. When he tried to murder Emma. Prosecutor Marshall was trying to save me from Dark. You see, the first person who happened upon the scene of the crime was me. Now you tell us. Damon Gant and Neil Marshall were the ones questioning Dark that day. The investigation was in its final stages, and Dark must have suddenly panicked. So he waited until Gant and Marshall let the guards down, and fled the room. From there, he went straight to the office shared by Deputy Chief Gant and myself. That's where he found me. So you were the first person to run to the scene, Lana? It appears so. I was filing some papers while Gant and Marshall were questioning Dark. When I returned to my office, I saw 3 bodies on the floor and smelled blood. 3 bodies? Prosecutor Marshall, the victim, Emma, who had passed out, and the suspect, Joe Dark. During the struggle, it seems Mr. Marshall struck a final blow before he died. Joe Dark had incurred a minor concussion and lay unconscious. What did you do? To be honest, I panicked. I picked up Emma, carried her out of the room, and just held her. Can't blame her after all her sister must have gone through. After that, I placed Dark under immediate arrest. Let me get this straight. You were all involved in the SL9 incident? That's right. Quite a coincidence, hmm? I don't buy it. What are you saying? There's no way everyone involved in this trial was also involved in that incident just by chance. But that case was solved 2 years ago. At least one person went to extremes because they didn't believe it was truly solved. Officer Marshall, yes, his action came as a surprise to me as well. Ever since his brother died, he just changed completely. I guess he wasn't convinced with the ruling against Joe Dark. Life doesn't end with the closing of a case. Everyone has to live with the rest of their lives. Everyone has to live the rest of their lives with their memories. That case just might not be over yet. Emma was assaulted by Dark at the police department, right? Yes, in the office that Damon Gant and I shared. The office that Mr. Gant now occupies by himself. The chief's office. Maybe we should have a look at the chief's office. The scene of the final SL9 murder. I don't see Detective Gumshoe anywhere. Things seem kind of quiet around here lately. Excuse me. You're right. Chief of Detectives seems the same, though. Why don't we go look for some other people to talk to? Right. We can come back here later. But we can't go here? Oh, I guess right here. Howdy, Bambina. Oh, Mr. Marshall. Never thought things turned out this way when I woke up this morning. Okay, Sarah, you never know where life will lead you, eh, Bambina? I should have known my luck had run out when old Billy dried up this morning. Billy? Must be his pet cactus. Say, where are you headed? Just over to the prosecutor's office for a little interrogation. That's a voluntary appearance. But we all know I won't be coming back. Sorry, but you can't go in the evidence room today, partner. But, Mr. Marshall, why did you do it? Why do prospectors head west? If ever there was a case I needed to know the truth about, it was that one. Before you turn yourself in, Mr. Marshall, would you mind telling us exactly what happened? Looks like I won't be getting a steak lunch today. Something was fishy about that trial from the beginning. It wasn't just me either. All the detectives thought so. What do you mean fishy? Some of the facts reported were inconsistent with the evidence we found. For example, the murder weapon. The murder weapon? You mean that switchblade knife with the broken tip? That was Joe Dark's, alright. But in the initial autopsy report, a question was raised. A question? The blade of the knife was not a perfect match with the wound the victim sustained. What does that mean? It means that there's a good chance that the knife was not the murder weapon. Huh. However, in the report that was finally submitted, that possibility had been erased. Could the facts have been concealed with the forged evidence? That case left behind scars on all of us. The scars that the SL9 incident left behind. There was something going on behind the scenes in that case. We all knew that later. Every detective involved in that investigation, save one, was taken care of. Miss Starr was fired and I was demoted and boxed away in a tiny room.
What about Detective Goodman? If they did something to him too, the commissioners would get suspicious. No, they were careful enough to not be too obvious.
They? Who are you talking about?
Don't get upset, Bambina. I mean Damon Gant and Lana Skye. The investigation lead Damon Gant and the second in command, Lana Skye. There wasn't a person on the force who hadn't heard of that duo. That case was the biggest step in both of their careers.
After the case ended, Lana transferred to the prosecutor's office, right?
Yeah. Damon Gant, the new chief of police.
Why is my thing not showing up on the mini feed? Green Beansy, thank you for the follow. Welcome to the stream. Sorry, it's not showing up on either on the stream. I don't know if it's showing up on the stream chat, but it's not showing up on my mini feed. I heard the notification and I saw it on my stream output, so I guess something's going through.
Yeah, Damon Gant, the new chief of police, arranged for that to happen. She's never been the same since she left.
Huh?
Everyone who knew her said so. Chief Prosecutor Skye was totally different when she was a detective.
Now that he mentions it, Emma said something like that too. Tell me, what happened to my sister?
Sorry, Bambina, but her secrets is too well guarded. I never found out.
Lana's secret? It all started 2 years ago.
I got the looks, but he got the brains. He was one of the best prosecutors around. I just made detective when it went down. It was our first case together.
How old was he, your brother?
He was 27 at the time. He was awarded the highest honor that very day.
The highest honor? You mean the
King of Prosecutors.
I knew it.
What are you looking at me like that for? That's an honor for a prosecutor.
Mr. Marshall must have really been close with his brother. The day the SL9 incident took place, that wasn't the same day as...
That's right. It was the day of the evidence transferal.
Interesting.
It was drizzling that morning, and by nightfall, there was thunder. I can't believe 2 years have gone by already. I tried to steal the evidence so the case wouldn't die.
Apparently someone tried to stop you. Detective Goodman was murdered, and the evidence locker was empty?
So there you have it. That's my story. Did you enjoy it, partner?
It was certainly enlightening.
There's one thing for sure I found out in court today. That boy Edgeworth isn't my enemy. He was the one who used falsified evidence to get a guilty verdict. But someone else was the one who gave him that evidence and planned everything. That someone is Damon Gant. Don't believe me? Well, I don't blame you. I wouldn't even be a patrolman after today. Too bad I won't be around to work with you when you become a real scientific investigator. Adios, Bambina.
Wait, can we go with okay, there we go. This place is pretty empty. It's always pretty empty, but today it's deserted. That must mean everyone's busy solving crimes.
Oh, if you're looking for the others, they're all in the conference room.
Thanks. Wow, he actually talked to us. Oh yeah, that's happened before. Again, thank you for the follow and welcome to the stream. What the chief prosecutor was saying, what she did, and decision about what to do about Mr. Edgeworth, not to mention our statement to the media in tomorrow's trial. There's more chaos going on than Thanksgiving and Christmas put together. I think festive is the word usually used for those. Sir, we'd like to have a look around in Chief Gant's office. And just use the connecting hallway to the other building and take the elevator to the top floor. Really? You mean it's okay for us to go in there? I mean, we aren't police officers or anything. Hey, you're right. You can't go in there. It's off limits. Now I see where Detective Gumshoe gets his unique charm. Well, what are we waiting for? Let's head to the chief's office. And bye. Whoa. This is an office? This looks more like a part of a church. This guy a vampire? That explains the music. Whoa. Where am I? I think this case is one of... Yeah, I definitely feel it. In the chief's office, silly. At least that's what it said on the door. In the whole trilogy? Okay, that's good to know. That's good to know. Because I do plan on playing the other two. Check out that pipe organ. That's real, isn't it? Hey, I used to take organ lessons in kindergarten. They used to call me Little Miss Bach. I thought I was a genius until they tried teaching me notes. I never could remember where C was. Hmm? Oh, it's you two. Chief Gant. He put that paper he was reading on his desk. So, Righto, how you been swimming lately? No, I haven't. I've been kind of busy lately. I can appreciate that. I've had my hands full too with Mr. Marshall's misconduct and Lana's provocative statement. Provocative statement? Oh, you mean about the forged evidence? I'm on the Great Chronicles at the moment. Is that one of the other games? 2 years have passed since that incident. My, how time flies. See that big picture on the wall over there? Oh, that thing behind! It's the newest, like, remaster they've released. Okay. That's a picture of Lana, Neil, and me. So this is Mr. Marshall's brother, Prosecutor Neil Marshall. The thing's missing, because that has a sword on it. Or there was left of one. We took it to commemorate our work together. Something's not right with this picture. Telling me, I can't quite seem to put my finger on it though. Can I examine it? And this dude takes some like long pauses. Okay, there's no like examine. They ever release Ace Attorney Investigations or working on the Apollo Justice trilogy? Oh, okay. Anyway, I'd like to reminisce all day, but there are matters that need my attention. I'm going to lock up here, so let's go out together. Oh. But this office, it was a crime scene 2 years ago, wasn't it? That case has long since been over. There's no need to investigate it anymore. All the same, we'd still like to have a look around. Perhaps you didn't hear me. I said there's no need to investigate it anymore. Now hurry up and get out. I have a meeting to attend. They never made an official English release for the second game. Looks like we aren't welcome. It seems that case isn't over with bleh, I know how to speak. It seems that case isn't over with yet after all. What do you mean? Chief can't deny our request to search the crime scene. That means there must be a reason he doesn't want us looking around in there. You mean like a clue? There's gotta be a way we can get inside in the chief's office. Hey, pal! Detective Gumshoe, aren't you supposed to be in a meeting? I'm just taking a breather. My feet hurt. From sitting so long? Actually, from serving everyone coffee. Sounds like a detective's Gumshoe is still out of the loop. Say, have either of you seen Mr. Edgeworth? Edgeworth? No, why do you ask? He's under fire from both the police department and the prosecutor's office. It's almost like the battles between you two in court. Surely because they're releasing all the old games and then meeting up to a new one. That'd be interesting. I mean, I was not really planning to go through the entire series. I just wanted to like take a try of the first games. That's why I got this trilogy, just to see what it was like. Because I've never played Ace Attorney before. This is my first time, obviously. So I don't know. I'm getting quite invested in this. It was not planned. That sounds serious. Is it because of what my sister said? Well, that's basically what it all boils down to. That falsified evidence 2 years ago. Now Mr. Edgeworth has the whole world after his blood. Yikes. But why would Edgeworth be blamed? It's not like he knew the evidence was forged. Lana Sky's the guilty party here, isn't she? Regardless, the prosecutor's responsible for the evidence they present in court. Not only that, but as you know, there have been a lot of rumors going around about Mr. Edgeworth. His amazing talent as a prosecutor has kept him safe from those who don't like him. But now, with this, are there really so many people who hate him? In our world, only those with talent rise to the top. Mr. Edgeworth not only has that, but he's young. There's no better recipe I know for making enemies. Hey, Dick! Keep up the good work. Yes, sir. Let's go out for lunch again sometime. My treat. The cream rises to the top. Nobody does it better. Oh, yeah. Oh, that really messed up my voice. Okay, I think we're good. Yes, sir. You gotta take me back to that joint sometime, okay, Dick? Yes, sir. It seems like you don't have any problems with enemies. Yeah, well, I'm careful not to stick out. Anyway, I'm a bit worried about him. Under all this pressure, I'm afraid Mr. Edgeworth just might crack. Actually, I took a look at the file earlier while the coffee was brewing. He seems genuinely concerned for Edgeworth. Well, did you find out anything? The only evidence Dark left behind was during his final attack. His final attack, you mean? When he killed Prosecutor Marshall, who was trying to protect some girl. Me. It seems Detective Gumshoe never realized Emma was the girl. That's when he left the most incriminating evidence of all. Well, what was it? Oh, let's see. I think it had something to do with the murder weapon. Oh, I forget. Look, it's all written in here there. Okay? This powers of recollection never fail to impress. Maybe we should show him the murder weapon. It might jog his memory. Joe Dark was 42 at the time of the crime. He was just your run-of-the-mill businessman. A businessman? What made him take to serial killing? One day on his way home from work, he hit someone with his car. With his car? So it was an accident? An accident, yes. But it transformed him into an animal. An animal? You got that bloodlust. He killed a man that witnessed the accident. Then he killed the lady who saw the second crime. A kid walked by just then. And he killed him too. The jogger came upon the scene and was killed as well. Finally, he turned himself in. Jesus Christ. This guy was really bad at trying to hide, like, trying to do the whole no witnesses thing. I feel like this wasn't just a bloodlust, there's just constant fuck-ups. It's like, oh crap, I ran over this dude. Oh crap, she saw it, I gotta kill her too. Oh no, this guy saw me! It seems he was a pretty careless animal. Of course, this is all a conjecture. There wasn't a single shred of evidence. So he turned himself in. Yes, but in the middle of his questioning, he fled and murdered his final victim. Prosecutor Marshall. That crime was witnessed by someone too, but luckily, Dark was arrested on the spot. It's a good thing that last witness wasn't killed. That last witness, aka Emma. Gumshoe, can you do me a solid and take a look at this? About this. Hey! Is that? It has a tag attached to it with the label SL9 incident on it. I believe this would be the broken murder weapon you're speaking of. What are you doing with that? Ever since that case was closed, the knife's been locked away in a locker. On the day Detective Goodman was murdered, this suddenly disappeared from the locker. It was found in Mr. Edwards' car muffler. That's it! Now I remember what that incriminating piece of evidence was. When you showed me that knife, it all came back to me. What is it, Detective? Quick, before you forget again. This knife. It was Joe Dark's, wasn't it? That's right. We traced it back to the store he bought it at. Plus, it had his fingerprints on it, too. But no one actually witnessed him using it to murder anyone, right? That's where his luck ran out. When you take a good look at this knife, you'll see it's broken. You don't have to take a good look to notice that. Yeah, well, anyway, take a guess where the broken tip of the knife was found. That's what did him in. Where was it? The victim, Neil Marshall, was carrying it inside his own body. It was found deep inside the stab wound. Did it match Dark's knife? You bet, down to the last fiber. That's pretty conclusive. Stabbed in the back, died from punctured heart and lung. The knife tip was in the wound. Well, there you have it in a nutshell. That's all I know. Can I ask you one more thing? What is it? If it's money you need, you should ask Chief Gant. It's not money, but it does concern the chief. His office is a crime scene, right? It's where Prosecutor Neil Marshall was murdered. The chief's out now, and his office is locked. But we'd like to have a look around if that's okay. Well, any detective's ID card can unlock the door. What? Really? But if I let a civilian in there, I'd be charged with breach of trust. Breach of trust? Simply put, I'd be canned. Oh. Sorry, pal. I don't plan on getting fired because of you. Well, how about this ID card? It was Detective Goodman's. That won't work either. The data was deleted the day he died. Oh. So in other words, Gumshoe is our only chance of getting into that office. I wonder if there's something we could show him that would make him change his mind. Maybe this? Let me share a little advice with you as a detective. If you don't have a clue, keep your trap shut. Oh, keep that in mind. Sheesh. About that jar, I think I've seen it before somewhere. Somewhere? Or maybe it was in one of those memories people have. Bleh. Maybe one of those memories people have from previous lives. This must be the most uninformative detective I've ever met. Something about it makes me feel uneasy. It's like I'm in the chief's office and he's yelling at me. Chief Gant? Where could I have seen that before? I see it! It's right there! This guy almost made us lose the case today. What are you talking about? He was guarding the bloodstain that evidence locker with his life. That's more than you say among most officers nowadays. It would have saved us a lot of trouble if you hadn't guarded it so well. I have to admit, he's right though. Thanks to the Blue Badger, we were able to prove another possibility today. The possibility that another murder took place prior to 5:15 p.m. Hey, that's it! That's the King of the Prosecutors Award that Mr. Edgeworth got the other day. Were you at the awards ceremony, Detective Gumshoe? Of course, pal. I got an award for diligence myself. Congratulations. I was wondering, why is the award a shield? And why is it broken? Oh, there's a reason. I'll tell you what it is later. I forgot. Alright, there's gotta be something else in here. Maybe this? I've been studying up on those files. There's nothing wrong with Mr. Edgeworth's presentation. I think people are accusing him of injustice. I, for one, ain't buying it, pal. You're looking into the case for Mr. Edgeworth? Yeah. It was a pretty big deal for while it was going on, you know? After all, a serial killer was on the loose. But Lana's was pretty clear in her confession. She forged evidence in order to prove Joe Dark guilty. That's not it. That's the ID record, isn't it? Yes, there's only one number left to investigate at 4:20 p.m. The victim, Detective Goodman, must have entered the evidence along with someone else. Someone with an executive office number. 777777777. That's 1 7 too many, Detective. I think when I said it, it's probably 4 7s too many. An executive officer. I just have a hunch. I am running out of it. Attorneys and prosecutors have no business showing evidence outside of court. It's taboo, especially when the interests of both parties are involved. She really means it. Lana. No one's here today, not even Miss Starr. Everyone's probably busy looking into what exactly went down in the evidence room. That must be what the detectives are. But we proved in court today on that day of the crime. No one was murdered in the evidence room at 5:15. Yeah, I thought we were finally making some headway in our case. But instead it looks like we just ended up making Lana look even more guilty. Hang in there, Lana. I gotta find all the answers by tomorrow. I wonder if Edgeworth is back yet. There he is. Looks like he's writing something.
What are you doing here?
He sure was quick to throw that paper on the floor. Tough day in court, huh?
I've had to live the past 2 years with rumors flying around. What's another allegation to me?
Cheer up, Mr. Edgeworth. I'm rooting for you.
Well, that's Edgeworth for you.
Always trying to hide his real feelings.
So, what do you want?
Unlike some people, I don't have all day.
There's no excuse for what I've done. 2 years ago, I used false evidence to obtain a guilty verdict. That's what it all breaks down to, and nothing I can do can erase that fact.
But you didn't know, did you? I mean, that the evidence was falsified?
The police department and the prosecutor's office share a bond of trust. If that bond is broken, we stand to lose everything. The police department's error is my error, and my responsibility as prosecutor in charge. That fact remains the same no matter what excuses I might have.
Mr. Edgeworth.
I take pride in my work. So tell me why. Why has it all come to this?
Even Edgeworth can't keep this kind of emotion bottled up. He's just gonna snap like Spock having an emotional episode.
Are you up for the trial tomorrow? First last year's trial, now this one. It seems all you do is worry about me. To be honest, you're getting on my nerves.
But Mr. Edgeworth, you can't just walk out on the trial.
Tomorrow's the last day. It's too late to change prosecutors. I bet that's what my superiors are banking on. I never thought that case would come back to haunt me like this.
What do you mean?
The list of evidence. It seems too short. Most lists run twice as long.
It's only half as long as most lists? That's odd.
After Neil Marshall was murdered, I became prosecutor for that case. I may not have been part of the investigation, but I knew what I had to do. Use the evidence I was given to prove the suspect guilty. That was really the only thing on my mind at the time.
Say, we just saw a picture taken around that time.
That picture?
Something seems strange about it. Could you tell us again about what happened that day? The day Detective Goodman was murdered? You were participating in a ceremony over at the station, right?
I never cared for ceremonies, but I had to attend that one.
Because you were awarded this?
Those receiving awards can't exactly skip out on the ceremony. I finished up at the office in the morning, then drove over to the police department.
You finished up at the office?
Yes, just odds and ends, clerical stuff. I didn't plan on returning to the office that day. That is, until I was asked to take something back.
Take something back?
This.
Oh, yeah. Chief Gant asked you to hold on to that, didn't he? You looked so smug when you showed.
Yes, it was a piece of evidence in a case that was closed half a year ago. He asked me to bring it back to the prosecutor's office.
Half a year ago? That's the story we heard yesterday. So you came back here to the prosecutor's office because the chief asked you to?
That's right.
I wonder what he was writing before. Come on, Mr. Wright, let's take a look. Are you crazy? Edgeworth is sitting right there. Just distract him. I'll check it out. Hey, Edgeworth. Is that Detective Gumshoe out the window there? Oh no, he's falling to the ground! Hold on. First, let me see what this girl is doing crawling around my feet. He didn't even look. What? A letter of... If you're having trouble reading, I'll read it for you. It says letter of resignation. Resignation? Edgeworth, you don't mean... I'm tired, right? I feel as if something inside me has died. But Mr. Edgeworth, none of it is your fault. I know the path I've walked, you don't need to tell me. And the path I've walked hasn't been a just one. I can't forgive myself for what I've done. And no one else should forgive me either. Uh-oh. I think he's serious. Mr. Wright, please, you have to do something. This letter of resignation. I wonder if I can use it for anything. Oh, show it to Gumshoe. Can you have a look at this, please? Okay. You said that before. Well, what about this? This picture was hanging on the wall in Chief Gant's office. Prosecutor Neil Marshall, and he just started making a name for himself. Looks like he was taken. Looks like this was taken when you received the King of Prosecutors trophy. Speaking of that, there's something that bothers me. Yes? The trophy that Marshall is holding. It's a little different than yours. Yes, you're right. Ah, I remember now. But remember what? That was what the official prosecutor's trophy looked until 2 years ago. There's a story behind this design. A story? Sounds interesting. Would you mind telling us to us? It's simple, really. Contradiction. That's what the award's based on. Okay, we've checked this here before. Von Karma, yep. You know, it wouldn't hurt if you put this up somewhere, like on a shelf. That has no meaning for me anymore. What do you mean anymore? That's who I was last year. What good is it to dwell on the past? He's asking me? Why can't he just accept it graciously? Actually, something's been troubling me about this shield. Look, do you notice anything different? Different? Yeah, don't you remember? The other shield in the court record. I guess I better present this other shield. This one? I remember now. Oh wait, hang on. There we go. I keep forgetting that. This award originates from an ancient Chinese tale. In Chinese, the word contradiction is written with two characters. The first means halberd, the second means shield. Have you heard this story? Me? Sure. Everyone knows that. Why did you tell us, though? For Emma's sake. Very well. Long ago, thousands of years ago, long ago in the kingdom of Chu, there was an arms merchant. One day he presented the king with two items. The first was a halberd he claimed could slice through any shield or armor. The second was a shield he claimed could withstand any weapon. Wait a minute.
Objection!
Those claims contradict each other. Very perceptive. But then again, you've heard this story before, right? Anyway, as you mentioned, very descriptions of these items discredit them both. When the king pointed this out, the merchant was left speechless, and thus the Chinese word for contradiction was born. Oh, I see. So the chipped shield and broken knife symbolize... Precisely so. They symbolize the merchant's items. The ancient tale with the merchant at a loss for words. He said knife, not halberd. But it's in our nature to pursue matters to their conclusion, even if it results in something as ugly as this. Wow. Thanks, Mr. Edgeworth. I learned something new today. It's funny. If that's so, then why were you only given a shield? You'll have to ask Chief Gant. 2 years ago, he had the halberd as part of the award abolished. Chief Gant? Two years ago? Wait, where's the broken tip? Oh, there it is, okay. Knife with a broken tip. Alright, anyways. Excuse me. Oh, you. Would either of you care for a quarter pound of roast beef? Oh. That actually sounds pretty good. Miss Star. I guess she's out of... Wait, are you giving me raw meat? Oh, you certainly are the curious sort, aren't you? Kind of like the first person who sucked a cow's nipple to discover milk. Okay. Still, I never thought you'd go digging up that case from 2 years ago. Everyone in this trial was involved in the SL9 incident. Not only at that, but the murder occurred on the very day the evidence from that case was due for transferal. This can't be all attributed to mere coincidence. Aren't you forgetting something? You know, that little scene I happened to witness? The instant Lana stabbed Detective Goodman with a knife. No matter how much of the past you dig up, it won't change what I saw. Roast beef is meant to be savored when eaten. The Star's hatred toward Lana. It all dates back to 2 years ago. Joe Dark, that's a name I'll not soon forget. I had my cursor poisoned. Not really for that. I wouldn't. Yeah. I'm just more perplexed and confused when now that you actually think about it. We trailed him for half a year. Oh, the pressure. Still, I don't think I was ever more alive than I was then. These days were steamier than a bowl of hot gravy. Poor old Jake Marshall, though, must have been going through hell. You mean, because of his brother's death? They were close, those two. After Neil died, something took over Jake. He became obsessed. Seeing Jake like that made her all the more desperate. Her? Lana Skye. My sister? The best of the best were put on that SL9 case. Of course, they were led by that legendary duo. Lana and Chief Gant? Damon Gant and Lana Skye. Gant led the investigation with Lana as second command. They were the best. They solved all kinds of cases together, didn't they? Damon Gant's magnetism was was almost unreal. His magnetism? By that I mean his ability to attract evidence. He'd produced the most incredible evidence in the case. What? What am I getting punished for? I didn't do anything. Too much boobs on screen. Oh, please. It's not Mia. Anyways, incredible evidence? You mean... Oh yes, there were rumors about him even back then. No one dared confront him, though. I take it she's talking about forged evidence. Back then, everyone looked up to Lana. All the detectives wanted to be like her. Really? Oh yes, myself included. I was a fool, really. She hated everything crooked, or anything crooked, and always watched out for the other detectives. That's why she was so concerned for Jake. Mr. Marshall. When Jake's brother was murdered, she felt as if she had lost her own brother. If it wasn't for her, I don't think Jake would have ever recovered from his shock. That's what makes it all the more infuriating. Miss Starr. That's why I'll never be able to forgive her. Why did she have to turn so cold after that? That legendary pair was the reason we were able to keep up our investigation. That's why we were so shocked over how it turned out. You mean with the forging of the evidence? Don't get me wrong, Joe Dark got what he deserved. Still, it was obvious the evidence produced in court was being manipulated. Items our team never found would suddenly appear, while other items were kept secret. But you don't have proof anything illegal was done. I'm proof enough of what happened. After that case, all of us save Goodman were relieved of our duties. Most without even so much as an explanation. Then Lana Skye transferred to the prosecutor's office and became chief prosecutor. Lana always wanted to be a prosecutor. Nothing's quite as simple as it appears. Huh? Lana Skye was merely being used as a pawn. That's my take on the matter. I've got it. It's Gant. It's been Gant this whole time. She was being used? Lana transferred to the prosecutor's office 2 years ago, didn't she? Yes, thanks to Chief Gant's powerful influence. Chief? That's right. Having solved the SL9 case, his position as chief was secured. There was only one thing left for him to control, and then no one could stand in his way. The prosecutor's office. More and more my reference to Gendo Ikari when I first saw him is starting to like really hit the nail. What? You mean That's why Lana was transferred? If he could control the chief prosecutor, he can control the prosecutor's office. That must have been his goal all along. But how could he control Lana? I don't know, but one thing's for sure. Ever since that case ended, she's never been the same. It's only logical to conclude there must have been a reason for her to change. At last, I'm finally getting close to the bottom of this ugly mess. Thank you, Miss Star. You listen to me, rookie. It takes more than just ingredients to create a fine cuisine. I hope you turn out to be a better chef than I've been. Where's Gumshoe? Oh, you're back. You're still here? I gotta make 150 copies of these files. Brewing coffee, copying files. I'm not turning into a regular DJ. I'm turning into a regular DJ. You're a DJ as well? If I'm not mistaken, I think he means desk jockey. Oh, that DJ. I'd gotta admit, admire your persistency, but my answer is still no. I'm not letting you in the chief's office, period. It'd be my neck on the line. That office is the last scene of the last crime scene in the SL9 incident. I have to take a look in there. There's gotta be something we can do to make the detective change his mind. Look at this! What's this crumpled up piece of paper? No way! Edgeworth can't be serious! Is he ever not serious? I can't believe they pushed him this far. Mr. Edgeworth really feels responsible. When I first met him, I thought he was cold as ice too. But I know different now. He trusted us detectives to provide him with sound evidence. But we betrayed him. Detective. That's it. I made up my mind. But here, take my ID card. We can't do that. If someone found out, they wouldn't let you off the hook with another lost item report. Look at me. It's no secret I'm already out of the loop. After all, I'm friends with Mr. Edgeworth. Depending on how this case turns out, I may already be as good as terminated. What? So at least let me do this, for Mr. Edgeworth's sake. All right, detective. Thank you. Here goes, Mr. Wright. We're in. If anyone finds us now, Detective Gumshoe's a goner. If that happens, I'm counting on you to bail me out. Yeah! She slap him. Sorry, I thought you were a ghost. I didn't even know you could slap a ghost. Ah! Detective Gumshoe! What are you doing sneaking up on us like that? I wasn't sneaking. I was just worried something might go wrong. So I came too. If you're here, then what's the point in giving us your ID card? Gumshoe's ID crushed and rendered unusable in pocket. Hey, don't do that to my card! I hardly ever get the chance to come in here, so I figured I'd have a look around myself. Besides, we're all in this together now. You really do want to get fired, don't you? Not if we're lucky. Now come on, let's see what we can find out. I've got a bad feeling about this. That desk on the other side of the room, was that your sister's? Yes, that's where I was waiting for Lana. On that day 2 years ago. Is anyone using it now? No, sir. This is entirely Chief Gant's office now. He practices a strict policy of preserving the crime scene. That's a strange reason to leave it there.
leaves it as a warning to everyone else. He wants us to always be alert. He told us himself at our New Year's party. Well, of course, he was pretty intoxicated at the time. I see. So ever since Lana left, no one ever touches that desk? No one except Chief Gant and the cleaning lady who's in here each morning. Still, 2 years have passed since that incident. There can't possibly be any clues remaining. Yeah, can I ask you something? Sure. You only came here to look around, right? Because it's one of the SO9 crime scenes? I mean, that's your only reason for coming here, isn't it? Why do you ask? You don't think... Nah, you wouldn't be... No. No, there's no way. Never mind. Don't worry about it. Okay. Now then, let's look around a bit more. Hey, hold on. Not so fast, buddy. Huh? What is it? When someone tells you don't worry about it, it's supposed to start bothering you, pal. You don't just let it go at that. Sorry. This guy's starting to get on my nerves. Okay, so what's bothering you? You two don't think Chief Gant might be a suspect, do you? What? He's right, Mr. Wright. What do we think of him? Chief Gant. So it's finally come to this. What do I think of him? Perhaps it's best I don't indulge my feelings. Yet. There you go, ignoring me again. You can see pretty far from 15 stories up. Why did fast forward that? At first the chief wanted to use stained glass for this window. Really? Why didn't he? They say he changed his mind because he wouldn't be able to see the view. Oh, stained glass or not, it's a huge window. This is the real deal, isn't it? This armor and these weapons? Sure is, pal. Chief don't care for imitations. First the pipe organ, now this armor? Don't you know how many taxpayer dollars must have gone into this room? Do you mean we're paying for this? That's it. I'm not paying 1 cent of my taxes. No, you don't have any taxes to pay. Shush! Be careful what you say. Who knows? Chief may be hiding in this armor as we speak. I don't think he'd fit in there. Even if he did, he'd never be able to get back out. Cut it out! You guys don't know how scary that guy can be. Wow, look at the size of Chief Gant's desk. Speaking of that, when we were here earlier... Oh, it's you two. Oh, yeah, that paper. I wonder, what was he reading? This looks like a list of evidence. A list of evidence? In most cases, the list runs twice as long as this, though. Hey, look at the case name. Huh? SL9 incident? I wonder what this is doing here. Hold on, detective, what did you just say? I said, I wonder what... No, about the evidence list. Normally they're twice as long. Well, that's right. I guess there wasn't a lot of evidence. A half-sized list of evidence. List of evidence seems too short. What would the other half of the list be doing here? I knew it! The chief must be hiding something about that case. It would appear so. Oh! Oh, that's a picture Emma drew. I wonder what this is. Looks like someone drew some kind of sketch here. What is it? Did you find something? I can't make it out. I better keep quiet about it for now. Huh? Huh? Oh, no, it's nothing. Why are your eyes moving about like that, Mr. Wright? I better forget about this picture. So what's on the other half?
This is a safe, isn't it? Safe? That word is ripe with intrigue. Okay, if you say so. It looks like a code needs to be entered in this panel to open it. A 7-digit number. I think I just might know what it is. Do you know what it is? I have a hunch. Oh, I know! You want to try my birthday? It's... I have a better idea. Here goes nothing. Bingo. Master of unlocking. Whose birthday was it, pal? Swap, 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 swap. The final ID card number on that record. What? The number of the mysterious executive officer who entered the room that day. You mean 77777777? That ID number? I think you're 1-7 shy this time. This can only mean one thing. That's Chief Gant's ID number. Say, anyone care to look inside? Is there any money in there? How much does he have stashed away? Look, it's a. Oh! A shard from a broken cup. This somehow looks familiar. Where have I seen this before? There's something else in here too. What is this? It looks like a piece of leather cloth. That's a handprint, isn't it? Hey, I saw someone wearing a shirt like that once. You think Chief made up the design? I don't think so. Oh, well, it was just a thought. Is that it? Is that what's all in the, is all that was in the safe? Apparently so. It's empty now. Piece of cloth and with a handprint on it and a broken shard from a cup. They look like the pieces of evidence. Yeah, but unless you can prove them, they have something to do with this case. I'm afraid I can't just let you take them. After all, it's my neck on the line here. Great. Now I have to prove their relevancy to get them. How are these two items related to the SL9 incident? Come on, there's gotta be something you can show the detective. Leather. It's from his vest. Chief's organs sure is a sight to behold. Occasionally we hear him playing it from the Criminal Affairs Department. That's on the 2nd floor, and this is on the This is the 15th floor of a entirely different building. When a detective screws up, Chief calls him to this office and makes him listen to the organ for hours. What's so bad about that? Music soothes the soul. After that, the detective can't hear anything for days except for the ringing in their ears. So it's an instrument of punishment, literally. But aren't the Chief's ears affected? He never listens to anyone anyway. That's beside the point. This was taken on that day 2 years ago. The day Joe Dark ran out of the questioning room and tried to kill Emma. After receiving his award trophy, Mr. Marshall took a picture here. And then went along with Chief Gant to question Dark. I bet he never knew he'd be dead just a few hours later. Gee, you think? This was Lana's desk. Sure is tidy. Lana's always been a meticulous cleaner. There's not even any dust on it. Looks like someone's still keeping it clean. Does Lana ever come back here? Nope. Chief Gant must keep it clean in memory of their partnership. They were the stuff of legends were made of. Does he keep it in memory of her or in memory of the crime? The shelves are mostly empty. Lana must have cleaned them out when she transferred over to the prosecutor's office. A small picture frame on the left shelf. Hey! This is when Lana and I went to that theme park. Look at that giant window. Makes you want to crash through it and jump outside. This is the 15th floor. I know. I was just saying. Saying what? Ever since making Detective, I've always dreamed about doing something like that. Note to self, Detective Gumshoe has a lot of dreams. So long as he doesn't go crashing through that window when he gets fired. Don't say that! Whoa! This area must have been covered in blood. Is this from that incident? It must be. When Prosecutor Neil Marshall was murdered. 2 years have passed, so the reaction's kind of dull. So a murder really did take place here. Who am I fool? I never had to anything useful this year to begin with. Got to stay positive. Okay. Detective Gumshoe, could you have another look at this jar? It's kind of early to be nostalgic. Wasn't this jar a piece of evidence from that case? Yeah, that's right. It's one of the shards of the SL9 incident had a sticker on it. Doesn't this ring any bells? You know that fragment we just found? You mean this one? That was in the safe? Yes, that one. That was in the safe. Now that you mention it, it's ringing a lot of bells. Let's see if it fits. Here, let me see that shard. I can take a crack at this. Go ahead, pal. Show us what a rookie can do. Mr. Wright, here's some glue. Put the pieces together again to prove Gant was knowingly hiding evidence. There, it fits like a charm. Of course that means Chief Gant willingly and knowingly hid a piece of this jar in the safe. In other words, he concealed a piece of evidence from the SL9 incident. But, hey guys, get a load of this! What is it? This piece you just attached. It's different from the others. There's a reddish line on it. A reddish line? That's blood. I don't get it. Why would Chief Gant hide this in his safe? Hey, look Here, it's hard to make out, but there's a dark red stain here. Looks like blood. This piece the chief has is different, though. Bloodstains on the other are just spots. This one's a line. That's odd. There's something written on it? Detective Gumshoe, I'd like to have to take a look at this. Hey, I know what that is. So you want to take some fingerprints? It's a great idea, Detective. Alright, go to town. Sheesh. What are you doing? Why are you just sticking your hand out like that? Go ahead, take my fingerprints. It's not your fingerprints we want to take. Huh? Come on, this isn't the time for jokes. We were talking about that cloth you found in the safe. Oh! I knew that. The one with the handprint on it, right? Sheesh, where's your sense of humor? What are you, my mom? I don't have to be told him. Oh, God, that tracks. My mom does that all the time. What? Oh, okay. I was like, why did it go to that? I thought it glitched. It's like, no, I'm just it's supposed to. Give it my best shot. That kind of result won't be good for matching any for matching prints, will it? But it doesn't look like we'll get a clear result from this print. Let's try a different finger. Bingo. Okay, so it's not Gant. Wait, what? No. How can this be? What are Emma's fingerprints doing in here? Hey, you found a match? Whose fingerprints are they? Seems the prints are too old. They aren't clear enough to get a match. Oh, well, that's too bad. I thought they'd be Dark's prints. Psst. Hey, you, over here. What's going on here? Why are the kids' prints doing inside the chief's safe? Don't ask me. Let's just keep this information from Emma for now. Here. Maybe you should hold on to this. Well, was I any help? Of course. Thanks to your ID card, we were able to get some hard evidence. Now that's not very kind, is it? In other words, if it wasn't for his card, he would have been useless. Isn't that right? You in the coat? Eek! Chief Gamp! We didn't think you'd be back so soon. Fortunately, I'm a man who believes in signs. I was walking to my meeting. I happened to look out a window and saw a stray dog run right into a pole. Just then, I thought of a certain detective. Do you mean me, sir? Now then, I'm afraid I'm going to have to ask you all to leave. Yes, sir. I'm sorry. Oh, you in the coat. Me, sir? Drop off your ID card on the way out. You won't be needing it anymore. But, sir... Now, get out! Yes, sir! We'll be on our way too, then. Wait. You, the one without the spiky hair. Don't go yet. Me, sir? I'd like a word with you. But sir, I'm not a licensed scientific investigator yet. You with the spiky hair, you're free to go. Mr. Wright! Look, pal, if I told you 1,000 times, the chief's office is off limits. But no, you just had to go sneaking in there like that, didn't you? I thought you said you didn't care anymore if you were fired. Yeah, but if I knew it'd be like this, I never would have said it. Now that I've seen the evidence Chief Gant was hiding in his office, now I think I'm finally starting to get the picture. Why has she kept eerily silent about it all this time? Anyway, you listen to me? I'm gonna try and smooth things over with the Chief again. Later, pal. What about Emma? After that, I heard from Emma. She said the police wanted to ask her some questions, so she'll be busy for the rest of the day. I see. So the chief asked Emma to come in for questioning. It's no use thinking about it. Tomorrow's the final day in court. I'm committed to doing everything I can to defend you, which is why I'm here. But I've already told you all I can. What you've told me over these past couple of days is absolutely nothing. Not a single useful thing. Really? I believe I did mention something quite important. Something I told you right at the beginning. I said that I was the one who stabbed Detective Goodman. You know, I think I finally figured it out. I know who it is that's lurking behind your words. You did a good job mentoring you. I'm rather jealous. It seems Edgeworth was right. Edgeworth? Once you're convinced you know something, no one can persuade you otherwise. Thick-headed is the term he used, I believe. Well, now's my chance to tell me the rest of the story. I have to admit I was more than a little perplexed at first. You insisted you did it, yet there was no incriminating evidence. That's when it hit me. It's not that you're unwilling to tell the truth. It's that you're incapable of doing so because of a certain individual. What an intriguing notion. A certain individual, you say? So you think I'm protecting this person? Protecting? No. I think afraid of is more like it. If I'm not mistaken, the person in question may have persuaded you to silence. For argument's sake, Mr. Wright, may I ask, is this person... whom may I ask is this person you're speaking of? The one I'm supposedly frightened of.
Take that!
Well, Miss Sky? Mr. Wright, you are addressing the chief prosecutor. Do not forget your place. I take it she's still not ready to spill the beans? My apologies. Could you please tell me a bit more about what you think you know? We were partners until 2 years ago. I respected him as a detective. Assuming he's respectable, then tell me something. Why would he try to hide his crimes? His crimes? Both you and Edgeworth will be brought before a board of inquiry for what you did. Specifically hiding and forging evidence. Of course, these These are serious offenses. Why is it that Chief Gant's name was never mentioned? Chief Gant? Edward didn't know the truth behind the forgery. The only party who could have possibly tampered with the evidence was me. I had access because I was second in command of that investigation. Yes, you, but also one other, Damon Gant. If you intend to accuse Chief Gant, you'll need more than just words. Show me proof that Chief Gant falsified evidence in that case. I just found this in a safe in the Chief's office. This jar piece and this piece of cloth. Do you know what these are? They're pieces of evidence from the SL9 incident. The person concealing evidence was none other than Chief Gant himself. Now tell me, why are you taking all the blame for him? Touché, Mr. Wright. It's as you surmised. I cannot disobey the Chief's orders, even if it means being found guilty for murder. Why not? Come now, Mr. Wright, you can't possibly expect me to be able to tell you that. 3 days ago, I had no choice but to cooperate in the murder of Detective Goodman. Or perhaps I should say, follow orders. Yes, that's more accurate than cooperate. Although I can't tell you the details, I can say that I was given an order that day. I need you to dispose of Bruce Goodman's body. You'll find it inside the trunk of Mr. Edgeworth's car! Just as I suspected, despite what everyone believes. You were not the one who murdered Detective Goodman. Correct. I was trying to take the body out of Edgeworth's car. The trunk's lock was broken, and I discovered the murder weapon while inspecting the body. The murder weapon? You mean Edgeworth's knife? No. When I found the body, this was the knife stuck in it. The knife from the SL9 incident? Serial killer Joe Dark's knife? I couldn't just leave that knife in him, so I took it out and stabbed him with another knife. That would be Edgeworth's knife. That's right. Even though he was already dead, my hands were shaking at the thought of stabbing him. That's why I ended up cutting my hand. And that's the reason for the bandage on your right hand. Yes. It seems I got blood on the victim's shoes as well. And then she saw me just as I plunged the knife in. Miss Starr, huh? Wait, hold on. Do I still have... I think I might still have it in here. What was it? Multiply? Oh yeah, there it is! Okay. Damn it, that was in here this entire time. Why did you need to hide Dark's knife so badly? It took a lot of work to finally close the Dark case 2 years ago. It was over with. I didn't ever want it to be opened again. My intent was to prevent that by whatever means possible. So, you hid Dark's knife? The weapon used to stab the detective was the evidence in the Joe Dark case. If word got out, which it would, reporters would have a field day with that. So you wrapped the knife in your scarf and hid it. In Edward's exhaust pipe. Right. Then I called my sister to tell her what happened and asked her to hide the knife, which was inside my muffler. You asked Emma? I didn't want anyone on the force to know about this. That would explain why Emma was so confident. About Lana's innocence. Speaking of phone calls, I had a bad feeling about one of them that day. Bad feeling? The truth is, after I received those orders from Chief Gant, The first thing I did was make a phone call. A phone call to Patrolman Jake Marshall. To Marshall? Why on earth would you call him? The lead investigator for the SL9 incident had been murdered. I wanted that fact to be kept hidden, and I needed help. He was the only other person I could trust. Or at least, I thought I could trust him at the time. However, it seems that after I spoke to him, he went off on an escapade of his own. Oh, you mean... Not wanting the case to die, he decided to take things into his own hands. He disguised himself as Detective Goodman and tried to steal the evidence. He had already stolen the ID card, but it seems he still hadn't made up his mind to break into the evidence room. After my phone call, any remaining doubts he had must have disappeared. So your phone call caused the incident in the evidence room. I'm afraid that's all I can tell you. But Lana, you've earned my respect, Mr. Wright, both as a defense attorney and an investigator. Now please, don't pursue this any further in court tomorrow. Tomorrow's trial, there's only one way to drive off Lana's demons. I've got to get to the bottom of everything. Detective Goodman's real murderer. And what went down in the chief's office 2 years ago. Final day. We're gonna do this on Friday. Whew. Yeah, we're gonna spend that entire stream session on Friday doing this last trial. That'll be it for tonight. I'd like to thank you all for joining me for this continuation of that's the press ring. For joining me for this session of Ace Attorney episode 5. Yeah, we're gonna push to finish it on Friday. That way we'll be done with that. And when we come back on Monday, we'll start Resident Evil 4 Separate Ways. We'll get that started. Reminder, even though I'm starting it on that Monday, the following Tuesday I will not be streaming. Excuse me. Because I'll be doing a watch party of on the same subject, Resident Evil. I'll be doing a watch party of Resident Evil Death Island in the Discord. So yeah, and then the following Wednesday we're gonna finally go back to more Control, and we'll just keep playing that until that finishes. But yeah, that's the plan. So thank you all for joining me tonight. Thank you again to Green Beansy for the follow and lurking around there. But yeah, in case you missed it. My stream. I think my stream schedule is on there somewhere. Oh, if not, you can always find it here. The first link will take you to the Lazy blah 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 Lazy League Discord, where you can find my schedule of streams as well as the schedules of our other Lazy Leaguer streamers, such as Oh Hey Mike K in the back one. Gumdolf doesn't put his schedule on there. But yeah, you can catch them when they stream, along with many others in our circle. Come hang out with us, come be lazy with us. A lot of fun stuff that goes on there. Gaming news, Penguin news, movie news, talking about all the entertainment stuff that goes on. Tabletop gaming, D&D, watch parties, obviously. And the second link will take you to the sister site for this channel, where we've got more info on other upcoming streams that I have planned. I do need to update it though, as well as my archive of all the past streams that I've done. And if you got any questions, comments, or concerns that you would like me to know about, or any suggestions that you might have for me for future Let's Plays or Retro Nights, head on over to the contact page and shoot them out to me over there. Also scroll down below, or off to the side, depending which platform you're watching from, to find other links to help support the channel, including the link to the Twitter. You can also reach out to me from there, and a couple other I mentioned that to help support the channel. List of other streamers I also like to watch and follow who aren't connected or affiliated with the Lazy League. Check them all out whenever you can. They're all great. And again, thank you for joining me tonight for this continuing in the investigation of was this like the third day of investigation? It was one of those. But well, it's gonna be the last day of investigation for episode 5, and I'll see you guys on Friday for hopefully the finale of not only episode 5 but Phoenix Wright Ace Attorney. Until then, take care, love and hype, life is good. Good night, everyone.